Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. Each week, host Brian O'Rourke brings you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse for what matters most for your business in the age of exponential technologies.
Hello, everyone. Brian O'Rourke here. Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. And today, we have a really special guest. I think she's a little nervous. I don't know why. It's a Sunday afternoon in Louisiana in January. The Pro Bowl is on. And Brandi bought this bottle of Moon, 7 Moons Red Blend. So we're having a sip of wine together, which is awesome. And it would be appropriate that we have the wine called Moon, 7 Moons, because Brandi has worked with our group now for 4 years and with the business we're partners in. It's Moon Mission Media. And for those of you who may not know, Brandi has advised a lot of the leading fitness brands in the world. She works very closely with Weymouth Club out of Boston area, and she's worked with several of the leading Gold's brands, and currently Gold's Gym of Houston, which we're affiliated with very closely. But she's advised other brands like Stairmaster, Schwinn, of course, the Les Mills programs that we enjoyed working with you on, and many others, Vertimax now as well, and other brands that you advise in marketing. Brandi is a Louisiana lady, which makes her really special, and went to LSU specializing in public relations and worked in a number of other industries before coming to fitness. Brandi, thank you for letting me wrestle you away to have a good chat for our listeners today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, so it's Sunday afternoon, as we said. This wine is pretty good. We're not going to drink too much of it, right? Well, thanks for being here. So marketing. This is Fitness Plus Technology Marketing, Brandi. I told you, just relax. This is just like we're having a chat. Only about 10,000 people listening over the next few weeks. Don't be nervous.
No pressure.
No pressure. So, you've worked with a lot of brands in the fitness space, and I've had the privilege of working with you. Marketing is something that a lot of people have a lot of preconceived notions about. With all these clients, and I didn't list all of them because I'm not sure we want everyone to know who they are, but or you do. But what are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing out there right now with your clients in the marketing space, and what's going on in your opinion?
Well, I think that one of the biggest challenges facing our clients, or especially before they get involved in social media or a digital plan, is undervaluing the engagement opportunities that are available. We've done several deep dive analysis to see where people are talking and what they're saying. And there are entire conversations going on around the brand. And it's the onus is on the brand to find out where that is and then to join that conversation. In some cases, they're even able to lead that conversation. So they're leaving a lot of engagement and relationship on the table. You're not taking advantage of that.
Yeah, it's really funny because Maureen sees me do this on Sundays during the football season. I'll go on Twitter and I'll just look at hashtag #WhoDatNation or hashtag Saints, because I'm a big Saints fan. And you can just follow the conversations of all these people, right? So it's like with brands, similarly, if there's a topic that's relevant to their brand, like fitness, or just their hashtag or brand name itself, there are people out there talking about you. And if you're not listening and engaging, why do you think people... We laugh about this, but why do you think people and brands don't see the value of just speaking to those folks on a regular basis? What do you think that is?
Well, in some cases, I don't think that they know that these conversations are happening. It's not something that they've been subject to or have been educated on. In some cases, even though they're on social media, they may not completely know how to use the tools that are available, to really maximize your time to find these people who are engaged in the conversation that you want to be having with them.
Yep. No, we've seen that time and time again, and you're right. And it's not a broadcast medium, but still a lot of the brands we work with before you got involved, they were approaching it like a broadcast medium where they're just announcing things for the world to see and not really listening to see how they can add value or interact or do something else.
Right. They're kind of looking at it as like commercials, more dynamic commercials where they can get on and say, hey, we got this going on, this going on. And so it's sort of changing that thinking surrounding that, and that this is an opportunity. In the past, in a commercial or in an ad, you couldn't talk back to the client. And now you can talk back to them in a number of ways and have them actually interact with the message that you're sending. And what's more powerful is that if they're talking about it already and you step in and offer a solution or even just an answer to a question that they have, then you've become the solution.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to jump ahead. I know that we're going to talk about this a little later, and that's a huge part of the strategy in light of all of the changes we've been seeing. And that's going to be more and more important as we see social media start to sort of reform itself.
Yes, so we talked about that. What is another big challenge that you see?
That people don't have a well-defined database. They should have a database of all of the clients, all of their prospects, all of their existing clients, all of their ex-clients are a great, database, just to really have all of the all of the data that they can have that available to them, and they could use those in a number of different ways.
Yeah, that's so very true. Alan Leach in a prior podcast, our recent one, talked about the database. Database issue is a big deal. You need to own your data. And as we're going to get into the next question, we know that's going to become even more important because as you've been dealing with the last several weeks, because we talk about this, you're a practitioner. And that means you practice what you preach. So Facebook, these changes to Facebook, tell me what you think. What's going on with that? What should people be on the lookout for with that, in your opinion?
Well, I think that this reset is, and I haven't gone through all of the emotions of it because I did. I took these changes hard. But it was sort of a paradigm shift of the way that we were being taught to use it before, and then the new changes that are coming, and having come to accept the changes as being truly beneficial. And I do think they're going to be beneficial. Some of the things immediately, some of the takeaways clients can take away is, to really work on that content, the quality of the content, because 50% of what you put out there is not going to be seen.
That's right.
So to really put your effort in the quality of content that you're putting out, and then of course picking up the engagement piece within that content strategy and those content pieces, that's going to be really important. And then more than ever, people are going to have to really think about their ad strategies as well. That's going to be a sort of a complete go-to-market strategy with their content, to where they will be getting what they need to have done. And then having the content be shared as it needs to be. Yeah,
and we can't be slaves to just one platform too. That's a big lesson we're learning. I mean, Facebook's a very powerful medium. Mm-hmm. You're able to do, as you know, high degrees of targeting. But if you're laying all your bets on one platform, you're really putting yourself at risk, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's one of the things we've been advising too as well. And that goes back to the previous question about those database, because you need to be able to control the communication with your clients and your previous clients and your future clients. So email, Messenger, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of the other platforms, to really talk to who you're trying to speak to and what your message is, and not putting all your eggs in one basket, because then we're at the mercy of changes that are completely out of our control.
That's right. And even though some of them may be good, you can't, if your business is relying on that one thing and they make these changes, it's going to really hurt your business. You can't put yourself in that position, as you're saying. And another thing I know around Facebook and the changes that we've been talking about a lot that's very fascinating is this whole automation component around bots and Messenger, and what messaging is becoming from an automated perspective. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think it's brilliant, and I think that Messenger bots are going to be sort of the next frontier, and I think they're going to actually be the next frontier for all the reasons we hate phone calls.
Yeah.
Because when you ask a Messenger bot, you don't have to ask how they're doing, how's your kids, how's their mama and them, you're just like, hey, what's the group X when is body pump, when is ploxing, when is what I'm interested in happening,
Right.
and to get that information as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And then also not to have the burden on the company or the client to have to answer questions that they really don't need a person to wait for to answer these questions.
Right, exactly. In the talk at URSA 2018 this year, and I know you'll be there, Brandi, so I look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning. And yes, I'll bring the coffee, everyone. March 24th. I'm going to talk about the present day of clubs and the future. And automation is a big deal. And this is a great example of what we're talking about, where you can provide highly personalized communication to do what you say. Give people what they want when they want it without all the burden, frictionless, right? And doing that in automated fashion, so you're delivering higher levels of customer service with no humans involved. So you can really focus your efforts on the human high touch part that really matters. This is one example of a really kind of revolutionary way that fitness brands can change how they're messaging and communicating and engaging, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So here's a controversial question. Twitter, is it dead?
No, Twitter's definitely not dead.
Well, people tell me that. Why do they tell me that?
I think that people don't understand how to use the platform. Again, if they're just trying to broadcast, they don't see the value in it. But it's so important and it's so timely. Twitter is like having everybody's phone number. It's like if you want to call somebody, or you want to give them the what for, or you want to compliment them on something, all you have to do is reach out to them on Twitter. 90% of the people on Twitter are handling their own profile, so you're actually talking to the people. We've gotten actually a little bit away from some of the automation that was on Twitter, where people are actually using it as a communication platform. So regardless of, for instance, regardless of how you feel about present day politics or any of those things, when you have a platform that allows the president to get a message out to the American people, when something that used to take days or weeks, and you could set the record straight in 15, 20 minutes, I think that's a powerful platform, and there's use for that in other aspects of business and just personal communication.
Yeah, I agree. And as you said before, I think it's true. I think a lot of people just don't understand how to use the tools, I think Twitter's a great example, because I know Adam, the CIO at Gold's, is very active. Chuck's very active. Chuck Runyon from Anytime. Ted Vicky, Scott, the CEO of Ace. There's so many people. Sarah Robb O'Hagan at Flywheel. Payal Kadakia. I could go on and on of ClassPass. I could go on and on with the professionals in our space that I have both connected with and developed relationships using that tool for the exact reasons that you said. And I just think some people maybe they don't want to spend the time figuring it out, because it is the water cooler effect. I mean, that really is a valuable platform to me. Now, but as you pointed out, you got to learn the intricacies of each of these things and the tools that they provide and use them the right way, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Which kind of gets us to what's going on with Instagram a few years ago, So Zook, at Facebook makes the acquisition, was a photo sharing site. We've seen people kind of really diminishing in droves their reliance exclusively on Facebook and really shifting. And I know with the Vertimax brand, with the Goals brand, with a bunch of brands that you've been working on, Instagram has been a really effective platform. What is that? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Well, I think that Instagram as a platform gives businesses a lot more control over the engagement part of the engagement.
Yeah, the interaction, right?
The interaction, yeah. You could act more like a human than a business. You don't have the limitations of businesses. You can have a lot more organic conversation. You could join in the conversation. Instagram stories has been a huge technological development. The video content, the relevance of the hashtags, now that you can search by hashtags, you could search by places, the functionality of Instagram and the tools that you can use for the communication, are really
They're powerful.
Powerful.
I mean, they're powerful. And it's pretty, you know? I mean, the whole aesthetic design of it, right? It's not as clunky as Facebook. There's not as much crap on it. Sorry.
Right. It's much more original.
Yeah. I think it's a great platform and still powerful. To your point before, the search features are really amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're doing a lot of this with Vertimax. You know, the fact that you can do searches around conversations, you can now follow these hashtags, as you said, and then stories, which is an ability for you to see what's topical at the moment by location, area, or by an individual or brand. I just think it's a fascinating, and then the whole realm of e-commerce within it, to where you can really have a very clean conversion on a sale for a product or service. Man, that was a smart acquisition by Facebook. I really think it was.
Right. And you don't have some of the other things. You know, people. It's a lot of original content that people are putting up. It's a lot of people sharing. It's not as much of a soapbox sort of situation. You know, people are really, it's more, you know, everyday life, what they want to talk about, where they want to be. And to join those conversations, you know, you're not bullying your way into those conversations.
Right.
You're simply, you know, walking up and saying, hey guys, you know, I have something to say about this. And people are more than willing to listen.
Yeah, and the DM on it, the direct messaging, is very powerful. I mean, very powerful. I'm you know, especially getting through the clutter. You know, I've used it. People have used it with me. I find it highly productive. I think there's a lot of good reasons that Insta is as powerful as it is, because the ease of use, the aesthetic design, all the things you mentioned. What brand shouldn't be thinking in the fitness space about Insta right now?
You know, I can't think of any. You know, even one of the clients that we work with, one of the clients in the health industry, is working with even some older clients. And it's a sort of a new market for me. It's actually 65 plus.
Yes.
And we've recently moved them to Instagram to great success. So whereas maybe 6 months ago, I would have said, well, if you're in this age group, you would want to be here. And if you're in this age group, you want to be here. I think now it's unique to the business. I think that you need to stay open-minded and explore the platforms. I wouldn't have thought that maybe this would have been the platform to open up for that age group. But now we're seeing that it is indeed a great platform to open up to that age group. And then it also gives us the functionality that we need to actually behave like more of a person within the platform than, you know, some of the others.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Now, you and I, and by the way, this wine tastes great.
It's good.
And, you know, I'm so glad we had a nice glass here on a Sunday afternoon. It's been raining. It's a little cloudy outside.
Yes.
You know, it's not been as cold as it was. But 7 Moons, what a perfect name for Moon Mission Media, right? Because, you know, it's all about the moon, right? But you and I were laughing here because we both enjoy Scott Galloway, who I've been following for many years, and talk about Twitter. You know, I've had a few conversations with Scott on Twitter. His book, The Hidden DNA of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google, by Scott Galloway. Prof. Scott, kudos and shout out to you. Great content from L2. And for our audience, go to YouTube, look at L2, listen to Scott Galloway. He just did a post. Every year they do a ranking of their guru brands, and I just find it fascinating what they do. L2, you know, it's such a great world we live in today because we get all this information for free. I think in about a 3.5-minute video, Scott distills why they are classifying 94 brands as geniuses. And that's out of 2,300 or so, right, Brandi? Yeah. And they basically approach an analysis of brands to, you know, given digital and technology, who are the gurus? And so we're talking about about maybe 6% or so of all the brands they analyze. And by the way, they weren't the crawfish vendor around the street on that list. But he came up with 5 things that mention what is a guru brand. And we talked about them. And man, you got to check out this content. We'll have it in the show notes. The first thing, and I love exchanging ideas around watching Scott's content because it's so both, you know, strategic and practical, because a lot of it really echoes what you were just saying in our prior conversation. I mean, out of his 5 things, the number one thing is target individuals. And how are you going to do that without data, right?
Right, exactly. We have to learn how to use the data meaningfully and where they are are they clients? Are they previous clients? Are they future clients? You know, where are they? What message are we targeting to them to really make that personalized to the user?
It's so important because the notion of mass marketing is really kind of losing its luster, right? And that's the benefit of digital, is being able to really execute this strategy, right?
Right. Exactly.
And you work with HubSpot and other platforms. So again, automation, understanding this personalization trend, really key. And Scott agrees and we agree with him. Another thing he brings up as a second item we're enjoying talking about is this whole idea of frictionless, easy ways of buying, right?
Yes. Yeah. Making it really easy, making it shoppable. He discusses how brands are choosing efficiency over feature overload, which I think is a complete shift of where we've been.
Yep.
To really make something easy, one click. You shouldn't have to do, 2 or 3 clicks, or 2 or 3 clicks too many.
Yes, exactly. And in websites, it used to be, well, we can do this, so why not do it?
Exactly.
And it just complicated things. I think that's why I called it with you, SoulCycle, one of the guru brands of the fitness space, is the elegance of their app. A couple clicks and you book the class. There was no frictionless. I think it's brilliant. I think everyone needs to keep that in mind. The next is this whole handoff dynamic where third-party sites. Now, I know in the health club space, there are these intermediaries that are popping up that are reselling, and there's like ClassPass and others that were intermediaries. He's talking more of retail, but the whole idea of if your product's on third parties, you need to make damn sure you are, really branding that experience as well as your own, right?
Right. He calls that facilitating the handoff to make sure that the third-party content is really optimized and true to the brand and brand experience.
So people aren't going to get lost off the farm, right?
Exactly.
And you think about, fitness equipment brands that we've worked with, you've worked on, even health club brands in these third-party platforms. And, a really fascinating statistic that we were just talking about relative to Vertimax on the 4 is that more people are searching for products on Amazon's platform than on Google's now.
Right.
So if you don't have a presence on Amazon, you may be losing business simply because you don't have a presence there. And if you're not branding that presence right, you're missing out, right?
Right, exactly.
It's pretty basic, but so profound. The other thing talked about this is the strategic nature of content and being strategic. What do you see there with the clients you're working with? Mobile. See, people, we're sitting here, Brandi and I. She was in the middle of sipping her glass of wine, and she almost spit it out because I wasn't paying attention. So basically, being strategic in content you're creating, right?
Yeah, to investing in mobile, most of your clients fall apart.
They're on mobile. It's all right. We're going to edit it. It's fine. They're on mobile. So being strategic means, when it comes to creating content, he uses the example of Instagram, for example, right? So, that's really the combination of, if you're going to be putting content on Instagram, make sure the content fits Instagram.
Yes.
Being strategic, being targeted, being thoughtful, moving away from desktop to mobile and then video. I mean, this with the Vertimax brand, it with the Golds brand, it with a lot of the brands you're working with. So much of your content now is video, right?
Right, exactly. And you do want to have that optimized. And, because you can use all of the different, even some of the things that we've mentioned, for stories and ads and Instagram and Twitter, you can use one piece of content, but to optimize that is really where the draw is. And then, to optimize it even further into what you want them to do from that content. You can add buttons and, do with different ad campaigns and even with the Instagram stories to where do you want them to go? Optimize the content to draw them in, and then optimize the experience of where you want them to go and what you want them to do based on those pieces.
Yeah, and a great tip that you taught me a number of months back was how Stories works with swiping up to get to a specific landing page or link.
Right.
That's a great example of being strategic. If you want to create a landing page for conversions, a landing page, you can do that. Another thing I've noticed is organic reach when it comes to content that you're not boosting. Right now in LinkedIn, video that is done appropriately, that's not too long, is a high reach medium where you can organically create a lot of reach. So it's really being thoughtful about what you're creating, how you're doing it, where you're doing it.
Exactly.
And then finally, this thing about bricks and mortar, right? In his guru thing, he said his median age of the guru brands, 93 of them, was 65 years. Gold's is 50 years old. So that you're or over 50, that you're a bricks and mortar legacy brand doesn't mean it's the end of the world, right?
It doesn't mean that you're over. It just means that there's new ways that you can use that as a, to optimize the business that you're getting elsewhere. You can use that as a piece of your strategy. New novel ways to the store to make a comeback. We can see that with, Amazon, the internet brand has bricks and mortar, and some of the successful brands that are doing it, that have people that are there to complement the experience and to help the people through the experience. Because quite frankly, you won't need to go to a store every single time for some of these things. But sometimes you do, because you just need the help that you need, where you need it, when you need it. And so that's one of the things. And it's interesting because we talked about earlier in one of the points of Amazon facilitating the handoff. And a lot of ways, with Amazon, people having their Amazon accounts and their Amazon Prime and wanting to do their research, they will go and you buy the store. That will be a piece of it, and they'll actually go to the store and buy that brand.
That's right. And we're seeing this now even in fitness content with Wexer and other digital platforms where bricks and mortar clubs are extending workouts outside of the four walls. Or MyZone, where you can use your strap like I do at home when I train, or go to a club and train, and it's tracking everything and sharing it digitally through a social network. So there are all these new ways of experiencing an assimilation and kind of ideal assimilation between this digital thing and this real bricks and mortar thing in different ways. And I think he's right. I mean, I think when you look at what's happening out there in the real world today, the guru brands are the ones that are going to really best integrate that kind of digital and physical experience. Brandi, tell me, you've been involved with We for the last how many months now? I know you're involved in that organization as well. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. We've been officially kicked off since May. We have 60 executive members at large.
Even
80.
more, 80 now. You're looking at your notes. And by the way, for the audience, Women in Fitness Association.
Women in Fitness, yes.
And it's got a great board of directors. I mean, wonderful people. I know you're heavily involved. I mean, there's a laundry list of people.
We do. We have Marina O'Rourke. We have Mo Hagan. We have Sarah Cooperman, Sarah Pellegrino, Kristen Green.
Deborah Sienna.
These amazing dynamic women who are involved. In fact, congratulations goes out to Kristen Green in getting ready for Ursa. Who is?
Can I tell you about Kristen?
Please.
By the way, she is just, I have so many lovely Australian friends, and she's one of them. Maureen and I got to go to Filex a number of years ago, and we hope to go back. Shout out to Nigel and his group. But with Kristen, I was at Filex and did a presentation on social media, right? And at the time, this is 7 years ago. And they went out and made this awesome video about their club. And when I was at the Ursa Institute, I showed it, and I didn't really realize Kristen was going to be there, and played the video. And they do great things at her club, and she is a super, super lady. So you're very lucky to have it. How can people find out about that on the website? What is the website for the Women in Fitness Association?
They can go to womeninfitness.org and find out all the information. We have membership opportunities. We have sponsorship opportunities, which are really huge opportunities for businesses to get in and support the association and women in the industry as a whole.
That's awesome. That's really great. And by the way, I know, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to be at Ursa in San Diego this year.
Yes, and we are going to have our first live WIFA event there on Thursday night. We're going to be at the rooftop, the Omni Hotel. They can get all the details from the website, thewomeninfitness.org. And we're going to be inviting both current members and future members. So we invite all women who are interested in learning more about the organization and really just want to meet these group of dynamic women to come out and say hello and, really see what the organization is about and how we can help each other to, like one of our board directors says, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes.
Miss Marina O'Rourke. So, we're just trying to get that tide moving in the right direction and supporting all the women in the fitness industry.
Yeah, and please go to IHRSA.com, IHRSA.org, not .com, sorry, and check it out. Make sure you register. The event is, a phenomenal event, And I'm so glad that we were able to spend time. Moon Mission Media. Brandi,
Media.
how can people get a hold of you to help them with their branding and marketing?
They can reach us at moonmissionmedia.com as our website. We're on all the platforms, Moon Mission Media, Moon Mission Media 321 on Twitter, because we love Twitter. Or they could reach me. I'm at Brandi Jude on Twitter and Instagram. There's a number of ways they can reach out. We're always willing to help answer any questions and help any way we can.
Google, Brandi. You can look it up, Moon Mission. And you know what? It was awesome to spend time with you. Thanks for bringing a glass of wine.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Sorry I asked you the question in the middle of your sip.
Thank you so much.
Everybody have a great, great day. And thanks for spending time. We'll talk to you soon again on the next Fitness Plus Technology podcast. Bye. Hi, everyone. This is Brian O'Rourke again. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. The podcast is brought to you by the Fitness Industry Technology Council, as well as my company, Videri Ventures, Moon Mission Media, and others. We hope you enjoyed the content. Please feel free to share it and join us again soon when we bring to you another leader in the fitness space talking about technology and what it means to our industry. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again very soon.